All right, guys, what's going on? Welcome in. So the Jets were busy yesterday, obviously the draft, and then after the draft, they added a bunch of undrafted free agents. And to cut right to the chase, I'm excited about a lot of these guys. We covered, I think, 10, 11 players in yesterday's video. This is part two. Since I posted that video, the Jets have brought in more players, not obviously as much, but some guys that I'm excited about. To quickly recap some of my favorite acquisitions in the undrafted market yesterday, EJ Jenkins, to me, wide receiver / tight end from Georgia Tech, I am extremely excited about. I watched a lot of Yellow Jacket football last season, and you talk about a physical presence, 6'7", 6'8" at the wide receiver position, throws corners around like it's nothing, just a physically dominant player. His size separates himself from even, the bigger wide receivers on the roster. Allen Lazard, Corey Davis, Denzel Mims. EJ Jenkins is bigger than all those guys. So I think that can separate him from the pack a little bit. Who else? Travis Dye, running back from USC and Oregon. Somebody who just completely shredded the Pac-12 year after year. Not only just as a runner, but also as a receiver, a touchdown machine. Doesn't really look like a physically imposing guy. Doesn't have the biggest frame, but he doesn't go down on first contact. He runs really hard, slips through tackles, finds holes, and finds ways to create production. So this again is part two here. Let's talk about the first player that the Jets brought in since that video, safety from Texas Tech, Marquis Waters. Now, what's really interesting about this acquisition is that the Jets gave him $100,000 guaranteed. He's 6 foot, 210 pounds. He actually transferred over from Duke to Texas Tech, started 35 games throughout the course of his career, run support. He was all Big 12 last season at safety, more of an in-your-face, in-the-box type of safety, can really, really help against the rushing attack. And, you think about the Big 12, you think about offensive football. Teams trying to push the ball down the field, teams trying to spread defenses out, and then slashing through the middle in the running game. Waters has done a really, really good job since being since joining the Red Raiders. You look at safety right now for the Jets. I think outside of Clark and Whitehead, we don't really have a ton of depth. I do like Tony Adams as a developmental safety, but outside of him, we have Will Parks and Ashton Davis. I don't think either one of those two players will ever grow to the point to where they can take over one of the starting spots and just be the team's starting safety, no questions asked. So again, with Waters here, somebody who is extremely physical, somebody who I assume is going to have a lot of responsibilities in the running game, and hopefully he has a opportunity to stick with the team throughout preseason. Throughout training camp, make it to preseason, and then showcase his skills there. Now, the next player, it's kind of ironic because he's a really, really similar player to Waters. It's Trey Dean II, safety from Florida. 5th-year senior. He's played corner. He's played safety. He's a physical hitter. Again, supports in the running game. And I think the thing with Dean that's quite interesting from like a coaching perspective, a lot of his weaknesses I think can be fixed with time and coaching, right? So if you stash him on the bench, practice squad for a year or two, I think Dean's a guy that can, really start to grow as a player. It's more so being out of position, kind of playing reckless, those kinds of things. It's not so much a question of physically can he do it. Does he have the speed, the power, strength, height, vertical to play at the National Football League? I think a lot of those things, a lot of those boxes are checked. Again, I think with time on the bench, he can grow, but I think the unfortunate reality here, because Dean and Waters are similar players, they might be competing against each other in training camp. So I could see the Jets maybe opting to stick with one moving forward, but who knows? Maybe I'm dead wrong. Maybe they both make an impact and stick with the squad moving forward. Okay, so next up, tight end from USC, Josh Fowler. At 6'6", 255, Fowler is a redshirt senior. He was mainly more so a complimentary piece. He appeared in 36 games, but he only started in 5. Yes, he has the ability to block, in line. Yes, he is physically imposing. Yes, he is athletic. Quick on his feet. That's the one thing I keep seeing about Fowler. Quick on his feet for his size. But as far as like him being like a number one option, being like the go-to option, or the secondary option within the offense, that just wasn't really the case. Again, more so a complementary piece that did find his way into the end zone a little bit more than what you would expect. I think one thing that's pretty obvious here that the Jets are doing, whether you want to talk about EJ Jenkins, Fallow here, Zach Kuntz, the tight end that we drafted in the 7th round from Old Dominion, and even players on the defense side of the football, this draft class / undrafted class really seems like there was a big emphasis put on physical traits, size, strength, speed, power, measurements, upside, stuff like that. Get the and that's kind of the Seahawks. Ironically enough, Saleh was with the Seattle Seahawks, coached by Pete Carroll. This to me is one of these classes where it's just like, man, when you look at all these players from a physical upside perspective, it's like, it makes you like double take, like, wow, like these guys could be really, really good if they just have time to grow, if they fix mental errors, and over time just really polish up their game. And of course, look, it's super exciting to talk about the Super Bowl next season with Aaron Rodgers, AFC Championship game or bust, right? There's a really, really high bar that to me the Jets have got to meet. And I feel like, amongst Jets fans, nobody's projecting 8 wins. Nobody is saying, hey, hopefully we can get to 9 wins next year. Who's saying that, right? Nobody is. I think right now, if you were to ask me honestly, objectively, the Jets are probably the 4th best team in the AFC, just names on paper projecting into next season. Of course, we have to see how the schedule plays out, but I know all that stuff gets everybody super hyped up, and rightfully so, but we can't overlook the draft. We can't overlook the undrafted free agent market, because this is how great teams sustain their greatness, essentially, right? The Seahawks are relevant, the Chiefs are relevant, the Bills are relevant, the Bengals are relevant, because Steelers, these are all teams that know how to draft really well. These teams can find starters, legitimate starters, building blocks in the mid to late rounds, in some cases in the undrafted market, right? So I'm holding the Jets to that standard. I don't want to say that these guys are all going to come in and be day one starters. Oh, 10 undrafted free agents, we got 10 new starters. No, of course not. But man, I'm excited about some of these guys. I really, really am. So let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Oh, real quick, to talk about some of the tryouts, these guys aren't signed. It's Tim Demerot, quarterback from Fordham, and then Ian Sweeson, linebacker from UConn. So let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, go Jets.